circle.
Yeah.
That's the same circle.
And we ain't even got off on politics yet.
We hadn't even started. Rick Roberts is giving me rules. I came here to talk about no rules, less government. Rick Roberts is locking me down.
We just raised hell last week about politics.
No agenda.
Did anybody watch that debate?
I did, but I got bored.
The second debate?
Yeah.
I didn't even watch it. I was all politics out.
It was
after
boring.
Watching it, after talking to you about it.
Nobody saw the fly on the head?
After talking to Rick Roberts about it, after just talking about it, I said, I'm out.
I'm out. Me too. You know what I did? I watched the Rays and the Yankees.
Oof.
I just rolled over and watched the game. He's like, oof, oof. Bring us in, brother. Let's get this show started.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Hey, we got some good guests today.
Awesome.
Rick Roberts is with us, as always. What's happening, Rick?
What's up?
Fulton, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you, Dr. Scott. Always
Fulton,
glad
I've heard
to be
some
here.
great compliments about you this week.
Yeah.
Yep, you got a lot of fans out there, my man.
Hey, you know, that was great to get to meet the preacher and his wife the other day at Advanced Medical doing our therapy and rehab before our adjustment.
Well, he's an avid fan of the show, especially you. He says you're very intelligent and he loves the way you speak. And then to actually come in, visit our clinic, and then see you practicing what you preach.
Absolutely.
He loved it. He loved it.
And very nice gentleman. He's in the right space for what he does. You know, he's a preacher.
Shout out to Dr. Brown.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In the small town of Whiteville. So we give him praise for what he does there and all of us. But yeah.
And we got another guest, long-term friend and patient of mine, Ryan Smith.
Here we go.
There it is.
Served as a first responder in Myrtle Beach for how many years, Ryan?
10 years.
10 years. 10 years.
Wow.
I mean, you can tell he's a heavyweight.
Yes.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
You know what they do with big boys? They call them in when they need something done.
Yes.
And so we've had to keep this guy tuned up for the past 10 years.
Okay.
Story. Yep.
He's recently relocated to his hometown, Michigan, to be closer to his family. He's realized, that's where it's at. Family's important, and you admire that.
Yes, completely.
Hey, Ryan, I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're in town. You're visiting.
Surprise. Yep.
He's got a vacation home here in Myrtle Beach. Well-established young gentleman, single at that for all the ladies out there. Right?
Yeah. Yep. This is good. Good radio.
So anyway, Ryan's good people.
Good deal. Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Glad to have
he's
you.
here.
Ryan.
He's here to chat with us while he's in
Look forward to hearing
town.
your story.
Appreciate the invite. Yep.
So so I'm glad you're here, Ryan.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about. I thought you were bringing some. I thought you were bringing your lady with you today.
Well, we busy schedule, busy times. Always on the go, always on the fly, following in your footsteps.
So I know you had to catch a little bit about that political debate.
Absolutely.
The fly on the head. I just can't.
Poor Pence, man.
Hey, when we get to where we are, and then the biggest deal of a vice presidential debate is a fly on the head, and the things that are stimulating from that, I just can't deal with it. It's silly.
Mm-hmm.
Completely.
It's silly, but I'll be honest with you. After watching a little bit of it, I felt like I had to watch a little bit of it. I thought you were going to want to talk about it today.
Yes.
We
caught the highlights.
Caught the
Cliff notes.
Got the cliff notes. I'll be honest, Vice President Pence is a pretty well-spoken gentleman.
He's amazing at what he does. Very positive. Now, he used to host a radio show?
No.
How about that?
Did you know Ronald Reagan used to host a radio show?
I know he used to act.
Yeah.
So I think he did a pretty good job. I also think, what's her name? Kamala?
Yeah.
Senator Harris. She's an angry lady.
Mm-hmm.
She's very angry, isn't she, Ryan?
Yeah, she. I think she proved she's not ready for that spot right now. So.
Well, she's angry and she's silly.
She's got a lot of skeletons hanging in her closet.
You can't have skeletons in politics.
No. And the further she tries to progress herself, the more it comes to the surface. Okay, she just can't hide it. What she did when she was in office, as the district attorney, is she went after innocent people. She went after people who weren't committing crimes. And that's going to haunt her.
Know.
That's going to follow her, and that's not going away. It's not going to go away. So now she's not president, but it sure looks like there's a setup because Biden, he's not going to make it. If he were elected in less than a month,
18 months,
he's not going to make it to inauguration. January 20th, he's not even going to get put in office. This is nothing but a ploy to put her in his place.
Well, she seems angry.
Well, you heard the new one, right?
What's the new one?
Pelosi now is talking about that President Trump is unfit and that they're talking about imposing the 25th Amendment, which is removing him from office.
Again, no, I
Again.
haven't heard this
Yep.
recently, but that continues to
Yep.
resurface.
Doesn't surprise me.
And you've heard about the governor of Michigan, aren't you from Michigan?
Yeah, it's terrible up there.
Yeah, a militia has now been 6 guys have been arrested for attempting to kidnap her.
Oh, no.
Today.
Wow. Well, I've been here the whole time, so
Innocent.
yeah.
You probably don't plan on going back to Michigan, right?
I'm going back on the 15th, so we'll see what happens when I get there.
Well, your vote's important up there, isn't it?
Oh, I took that day off.
Yeah.
That's good. Ryan works in the. You still doing
Still doing fire. Yep.
fire? Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
So going through
First responder.
paramedic school right now.
Thank you, man.
So,
Paramedic school.
Thank you for what you do.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, what happens is you have people like Ryan busting their ass every single day, working for the system. The system's designed to help us all out, and everybody's doing a great job. Everybody's doing a great job.
Yes.
And then you dive into politics, and when politics starts taking over in a certain aspect, where, I mean, let's just face it, it's money driven. And that's okay to a certain point.
Power.
To a certain point. And then it gets to the point to where it starts taking advantage of the people. That's where the whole pharmaceutical, medical, industrial complex is. Medicine is a phenomenal art and a science and a philosophy of healing and helping people who are in pain and hurting. But it's been decades going on that's been taken over by a whole pharmaceutical, medical, industrial complex, supported and driven even by certain levels of government.
The swamp.
That's what's going on. I don't even.
That is the swamp.
Okay, tell
Yes.
everybody listening right now. I would really love to know, because you're into this a little more than I am.
Okay.
Tell me what the swamp is. Give me a definition of what
Yeah.
the swamp is. Give me a definition of what the deep state is.
The deep state. Well,
Is the swamp and the deep state the same thing? Is that synonymous?
you know, for many people, I'm going to say yes. Not to give you a two-sided answer there, but it absolutely is. So I'm going to preference that to you with a question. Would you rather have money or power? Power. Because when you have the power, you take the money.
All right, Kamala Harris.
Okay?
Answer the damn question.
That's it. That is the deep state. The deep state is about the hidden power within this
Can you
country.
name names?
Yeah, every one of them. Every one of them. That's what Trump went in doing. He was
Is
calling
the
out
deep state the same thing as, what was the other one? The swamp.
The
Is
swamp.
it the same thing?
Absolutely.
Actually, I don't know. Wait a minute. The swamp to me is politicians that have been up there for 30 plus years.
Okay.
Drain the swamp. Get
Okay.
them out of there.
Okay, stagnant politicians. You got
Right.
career politicians.
Yes.
Got you. Okay.
Thank you, Rick.
All right. Now, what's the difference between the deep swamp, the stagnant politicians, and the deep state?
Deep state. It's long term. You know, bureaucracy at its best. You have that
So the deep state
Yes.
are the
Employees.
Are the
deep state.
So the deep
is the
state are the
employees.
deep states the ones pulling the strings, and then the swamp are the ones pulling the strings.
So
Or-
here's how I see it. Here's my opinion. The swamp are the politicians, okay, and the deep state are the employees of the government who outlast who's elected at that time. So if you have an employee of the government who is very liberal, very Democrat, and Trump gets elected, they're there. They're career people. They're going to be there for 40 years, 30 years before they retire with their big federal pension. Okay, they're just there to wait out Trump and cause conflict and discourse during his presidency,
Now, let's
and that's
get
what
correct.
we've
Let's
seen.
correct this.
So, all right, so real quick-
Hold on.
real quick.
We're going to correct this right now.
I know, real quick.
No. We're going to correct this right now. You
It
said
is on.
government employees. I hate to tell you, brother,
Yes,
but my friend Ryan here is a government employee, and he works for our government, and
Yes.
he's not one of these guys. So let me stand corrected. You don't
Okay.
mean all government employees.
course
You
not.
mean people
Absolutely.
involved
Actually-
in the BS.
Actually, the dictionary defines deep state as a body of people typically influential members of government agencies or the military, believed to be involved in the secret manipulation or control of government policy.
thank you. I think that's exactly what I said.
There you go. Hey, real quick, guys, before you get started even
Rick
more.
Roberts showing up on the scene.
Real quick.
Hey. So it gets even more interesting.
It's more sticky.
What were we just talking about? We're talking about something.
Deep state.
Rick Roberts interrupted promoting
For
our
the
business,
plug,
which
yes.
is the only
Thank
reason
you,
why
Rick.
we can do. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick, for that interruption.
I gotta brand you guys. I gotta make sure people know who to call.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you. We couldn't do it without you. So you gotta. Oh, that's what it was. We're talking about something, and Camilla Harris did not answer the question about the moderator. Specifically asked a question to both candidates
Loading the court.
that if something happens to the president, whomever it may be, have they discussed with their fellow candidate, running mate, have they discussed that takeover, that transition? Should something happen to these 120-year-old white men who are living on medications, I'm just speculating, I'm just playing around, but should something happen to them as far as their health goes, both Trump now diagnosed or tested positive with COVID, then you have Biden with his mental issues. Should something happen, have you discussed that with your running mate about the transition and that takeover? And she just clearly just avoided the question.
Okay. I actually did not see that.
Mm-hmm.
She ran it for about at least 2 minutes. I'm sure there's this whole 2-minute deal that these moderators have, that as soon as they're in a discussion, which is actually a debate, that the moderator wants to keep saying, well, thank you. That's enough. Thank you.
Yes.
But she was in the middle of this rant and just kept going on and never really answered the question. I think that's a very important question that should have been answered is, say something happens. Have you discussed the transition?
It's not if, but when.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
going to
that's
happen.
Right, that's right.
Okay. There's no doubt.
I feel like that's why it was avoided.
Yes. And she should avoid it. It's in her best interest to stay out of that lane. She's going to get run over in that lane. If she drives in that lane, she's going to get mashed from behind because there's going to be a steamroller coming her way. She needs to avoid that. What she needs to do is she needs to support the man she's running with instead of starting to set up her own agenda of how she wants to run this country. Don't think she's not thinking about when she's president.
Oh, she's thinking about when she's president.
That's all she's thinking about. That's it. So,
It's hard for her to do what you're telling her that she should do. She should do it, but people should all over themselves. All right? What she can't do is she can't control.
Never heard that one.
She can't control her emotions. She's an angry lady. She's emotional.
Bitter.
She's emotional on both spectrums. You look at her at one moment, and she's doing this like she's in a talent show. She's really excited about this position. She's kind of laughing and giggling. The next moment, she's an angry person. She's emotional all over the place, and it's going to be difficult. And that is very apparent during that debate, especially in relation and comparative to the way Vice President Pence was presenting himself as very
he's presidential. Yes.
Pence for president. Right?
Pence for president. He's
After Trump, that's
very
our goal.
communicable, very explanatory. I mean,
He's solid.
He's solid
He
and
is
compassionate
solid
at the
as
same
a
time.
rock.
Solid.
Yes.
He did a fine job. I was proud of that.
He did a very fine
proud.
job. He looked fantastic in that position. He carried himself well. He is what we hope to see in place after Trump. Trump's dynasty will not end in 4 more years. Okay, it's going to be the next step into this great movement this country has embraced, which is prosperity. You earn what you eat. Men and women alike are eager to work and provide for themselves a better life and their children and their family.
That's right.
And that's what Trump and Pence bring to the table is hope to follow the American dream. Where when you look at the Democrats, what are they trying to do? They're trying to take that away. They're trying to control what you think, force you to think what you don't want to think. They want to spend your money for you and tell you how to raise your child.
That's right, and give you no options.
And no options.
And it's not only no options. The options that they're giving you are being presented as fact when indeed it's not necessarily a fact nor the only options.
It's their opinion.
That's what we're seeing in healthcare right now.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what's going on. We've gone from a profession. You see, medicine has always been both a profession and a business.
Yes.
But there's a pendulum that's got to swing and balance. And it's gone completely out of balance. It started back in probably the 50s or the 60s, okay, when they really started corporatizing medicine. And it's getting worse than ever before. And now it's going from more professionalism to a business.
Yes.
And you have these businesses, these corporate conglomerates and networks that are telling doctors what they can and can't do.
Yes.
Which then in turn, it's not the doctors and the nurses' fault. They're trying to do the same thing we're doing. The same thing everybody out there listening right now is doing. We're working. We're trying to survive. We're feeding our families. We're trying to make it up, create a better future for ourselves. The doctors and nurses are doing the same thing that we're all doing. They're only doing it under an umbrella of control of what they can and can't do for a patient, what they must and must not do by these corporate big ends that are looking at the bottom line. And there's some names out there.
Absolutely.
There's some names out there. There's these corporations that are they're making patients miserable.
And hold on.
And they're making doctors miserable.
And it's not only the doctors, okay? It's the hospital systems. It's everybody who gets paid, who gets reimbursement for that patient's care.
That's exactly right.
So who's in control?
I'll tell you who's in control. That's a great damn question, Fulton. Let me answer that for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
This is going to surprise everybody, but I have the answer. I know who's in power. I know who's in power.
Tell me. Let's hear it.
You are in power. The individual.
The patient.
The patient. The patient is in power. Number one, the patient has supreme power to say yes or no.
All decision making
yes
lies in
or
that
no.
patient's
You
hands.
have the power.
Yes.
Now, the problem comes is where does your power come from? Power comes from knowledge. Where are you getting your knowledge from? Where are you getting your information from? If you're only getting it from certain people that are locked in a system that's being controlled of what they can and can't do and limit your options, whether it's healthcare or anything, you're stuck. That's why the power is in the individual to say yes or no, but you have to educate yourself. You have to care. You have to know what's going on.
Do your research.
The supreme power lies with the patient. You want to know who's second in line?
Who's that?
You want to know who's second in line of power? The physicians.
Okay.
We, the doctors.
Because
we can
Tell
say
me
yes
why.
or we can say yes or no also. I said no when I was 16 years old. I said, nope, no more medications. Nope, you're not going to do exploratory surgery on me after 4 years of not fixing me. No. I'm going to say yes to taking control of my own health. I'm going to do what I think's right. And I found people, once I realized that I was not going to win that way, after 4 years of misery, suffering, more sickness, more disease, more medications, and now a surgery at 16 years old, we all know what's right or wrong. All beings know right from wrong. I knew at 16 years old that was not right. It was wrong. And I wasn't left with an option. The only option I had was yes or no. My answer was no. When I said no, my eyes started opening up. My awareness opened up to what was right. I knew that I had to figure out what was right. And that's when, call it God, call it the universe, call it whatever you want to call it, started putting things in my path to where I could recognize and understand the reality of what was right versus what I already knew and experienced what was wrong.
Okay.
And that's what started happening. I made the decision to say, nope, that's not right. And that's where the power lies. That also lies with a physician. I'm a chiropractic physician. I decided to build a business and build a practice to say no to this and yes to that. That's why now, 3.5 years ago, we created the Grand Strand and PD Region's first regenerative medicine clinic.
Yes.
We said yes to what we felt was right for our patients, what was right for our doctors and our practitioners and our providers. No to what's not working over and over and over. The supreme power lies with the patient and with the physicians.
Okay. So you say that patient is number one, physician is number two, but who controls the purse strings. What was the question I asked you earlier?
We all know who controls the purse strings.
Would you rather have money or power?
They got both.
They have both.
They have both.
They have both.
They have both, and it's their right. It's their right
To dictate what you are going to do when you walk through that doctor's office.
Dictate me or you without you saying yes or no.
Without you agreeing to it.
They're following the law.
And so many people fail.
They're following the law
So many people fail.
at the expense of people's health and pocketbooks.
Absolutely. They fail to do their research. They fail to educate themselves on their own well-being. That's one of the first things you teach at AMS, okay? It's not just about where your aches and pains are, but we're going to look at the whole body, okay? We want the mind healthy. We want the diet healthy. We want the rest, the exercise, and then we get into all of the other things that come with it. But it's a total package. It's not one. You need all working in harmony.
Well, things don't have to be this way.
No.
You know, things don't have to be this way. Ryan was at a point, you came to me hurting. Hurting. The man's beat his body up.
True story. Yep.
He's beat his body up.
Sports in 10 years of firefighting, let me tell you.
And if you took a look inside this man's body, if anybody did, they'd be ready to operate.
Okay.
If they thought that was all the options.
I was given that option too.
He was given the option. He has the supreme power. He said, nope. I want to stay young. I want to stay fit. I want to stay healthy. He decided another option. That's the option that we took. Some alternative care.
Yep.
Treating his back, his neck, his whole body. And no surgeries, no medications. Fit, healthy, strong. That's his choice. The supreme power lies with Ryan.
Too young for the knife. That's what I think.
Too young for the knife.
How you feel right now, Ryan?
I'm feeling good. I just left his office
Okay.
not too long ago.
They take good care of you?
Real good. Yep.
Good.
Feel like a feather right now.
Got a top-notch team over there, don't we?
Yeah, true story.
Did you wait too long? Did you have to wait too long?
No. Put me right in that massage chair.
Good.
So,
Good.
It felt good. Passive therapy.
So yeah, so that's what's interesting, and we're at a point right now where this election, it really is a supreme, top-notch, high-end deal. What's going to happen?
It's just like healthcare. It's your choice, people, to get out there and elect this president to 4 more years. 4 more years. That's all we're asking. One day
That's
out of your...
That's all Fulton's asking. I'm not asking that.
You're asking a whole lot more.
No.
A whole lot less.
Hey, do what you want to do. Do what you want to do.
You know what?
If you don't want to vote, don't vote.
Don't vote.
Don't complain to me, though.
I don't want to hear
If
it.
you don't want to get your back fixed, if you
Yes.
don't want to get your knee fixed
Yes.
the right way, okay, just don't come back and complain to me. So, hey, Fulton, I admire it. You're encouraging people to go vote.
Yes.
I'm not. Do what you want to do.
Well, I'm showing the ratio. How many days in a year? 365. Okay, times 4. Ooh, that's gonna stretch my
That's
mind.
too much math for Rick Roberts.
1460 or something. Anyway, ish. So we're asking for one day out of your time to go do what you need to do to vote to reelect President Trump. For him
If
to
you
give
want to, otherwise don't
1,400.
complain about it.
That's right. Well, they're going to complain anyway. I was, we were having the conversation on the way in the door, and you think that with the election going, finishing, what if Trump wins? What if Biden wins? What's going to happen to the radio ratings? Guess what? They don't go anywhere. They stay because some people are angry. Some people are angry that what they wanted didn't happen. So what we do in this radio station, it's not going to take a dip after the election because there's going to be something moving forward to continue to keep it going. And you know what we need to be listening to when we listen to this radio station?
What?
About President Trump. What?
Here's what I do. Here's
me.
what I do firmly believe. And I respect what you're saying. I understand completely. But I fully believe that the tide is turning. The tide is turning.
Okay.
The battleship is turning. The cruise ship is turning. When you turn a cruise ship, it's not fast. It's slow and methodical and smooth. Otherwise, you're going to have disaster. I see the tide shifting in a way that we're all going to get what we want. Whether you really know what you want or not, we're all going to start getting what we want, and we have to be patient during the change. It's going to be a painful change. It's painful now. Unfortunately, it's more painful for some people than it is others. Thank God in South Carolina right now in Myrtle Beach. Dude, we are blessed. It's a beautiful place.
Oh, it's paradise on earth.
There are people moving here in the droves by the thousands because they're smart enough to realize this is it.
It's a lot
the Grand
to offer.
Strand is the place to roll.
Yes.
Ryan, you might have moved out, but everybody else is moving in, brother.
Yeah, well, that's why I cut my place.
He's
Ain't
back.
going nowhere.
He's back.
So, yeah, the tide is turning. The tide is turning. I think there's a shift. People are beginning to understand, and actually perceive what's really happening because, number one, we have an avenue of being able to get more information than ever before with the internet.
That's a good thing.
That's a good thing and a bad thing.
Google everything.
However, I think overall, the people who are taking responsibility, the people who you're talking to that feel the responsibility to have a voice and vote, I feel like the tides are turning in a way that it's a slow way, but it's a sure way of actually moving forward, getting stronger as a nation, getting stronger as a people, getting stronger as a global force, moving in that direction rather than weakening ourselves. I mean, it seems to be blatantly obvious when you look at the patches of area around the country of what's going on. It's obvious who the strong ones and who the weak ones are. The weak ones are crying and they're angry and they're pissed off and they're blaming and then
rioting.
The strong ones are moving forward with an agenda even deeper than what we see. Even this radio show. We have a good time here. We talk. We try to inform, but it's even deeper than that. This radio show is really sponsored by AMS, and our whole mission is to be able to provide regenerative medicine to everybody, not just people who can afford $5, $15, $20, $50,000 for the most effective medicine on the planet. The goal is to be able to infiltrate the system in a way to where we can provide the most effective medicine to everybody who deserves it and who wants it and who needs it, rather than shooting them straight off to surgery just because their insurance is going to cover that and they'll go broke doing anything else and they have no other means of doing it. No, that's not happening. There's a shift and we're part of that.
Amen to that, and I'm glad to be a part of it as well. We have so many people when it comes time to address an injury or pain, okay, and their recommended surgery, the first thing that comes to their mind is, I can't stop work. I can't stop what I'm doing. Ryan, can you stop? Can you stop what you do?
Nope.
No.
Absolutely not. That's actually the scary part too, because like right now I don't have insurance, so it's kind of hard for me to stop. I'm in paramedic school right now.
Yep.
I'm doing clinicals, and if I get hurt or if I say I got hurt, then I got to stop everything. So that's a serious issue right now for certain people.
It's a risk that comes with it's a risk you have to take. It's a risk you endure, but you're willing to take that risk. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, the open enrollment will be coming up soon. Have you ever looked at any of the benefits of the Affordable Care Act, especially with the subsidies as a student?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't looked at that.
I'll be honest. There's some really good things about it. Okay. Yeah. I have a licensed insurance, so I can speak with experience, mm-hmm. but pre-existing conditions do not apply. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's a good thing to have. A lot of people are complaining about the premiums, and a lot of people are complaining about the out-of-pocket, the annual out-of-pocket. But what you want to do is you want to cover as far as catastrophic events, okay, things that completely take you out, and that's really where when you can show as a student. But to get back on track for what you're talking about with where you're at and the ability to not be able to stop, think about how much drive that gives you a day to go do what you do, okay? Because you can't quit. Right. You can't quit. Mm-hmm. And you've got a goal in mind. You've got a place you want to go. Mm-hmm. Dr. Scott, that is the American dream. Once again, where we started this show and what we were talking about, the people in this country want. Ryan represents that 100%.
You are exactly right.
100%.
That's why he's here. That's why I've always admired him.
Yes, yes. And what he's already gone through. Look what he's already given to this country. And here at Myrtle Beach,
That's right.
First line responder. We take our hat off to you, Ryan. Thank you. Thank you for what you've done.
I enjoy it.
And in doing all that, you know how much bullshit he has to put up with?
I can't imagine.
I mean, we talk about all the BS on the global scheme on a national level. I'm not going to say what you told me during lunches and dinners and hanging out of all the BS that you have to do. It's everywhere.
Politics. It's all
everywhere.
back to politics.
It's all about politics.
Yes.
Who's who and who's getting what. Now, the good part is he's still able to do his job as a superhero and a firefighter, saving lives and serving the community. He's able to do that. Just like we're able to practice medicine. We're able to practice the right to what's it called? The right to choose, the right to try. We're able to do certain things outside of the box of conventional medicine. But there's always a bunch of bullshit you got to deal with to do a great job.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in the mix.
Everything comes with a cost.
Well, what happens is they treat you like children. They treat you like children. And
they want you to be like children.
Take care of me, nourish me.
Yes.
But give me some options. Give me a choice and give me some freedom.
The reason they treat you like a child is because they want you to act like a child.
Well, damn sure if Kamala Harris didn't act like a child the other night. Yeah. That was a reaction of a child. She had a reaction of a child. I'm not a psychoanalysis, but in watching her, number one, her face changes. The tone of her face changes. It was just quite disgusting.
It was really annoying.
It was very
really annoying.
annoying.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like a child. At one moment, she was giddy. Oh, look at me. I'm in a great talent show. The next moment, she is heated and has a disgusting face.
Bitter.
It's just bitter, full of anger.
Bitter.
Like a child.
Scorned.
Like a child.
Mm-hmm.
And she's functioning out of anger.
She's a train wreck, brother.
Hey, now don't get me wrong. I get anger. Anger really comes from fear. What's she afraid of? I don't know what she's afraid of. I'm afraid she might lose. I think that she might be afraid that she's going to lose. That's just going to crush everything. That's the end of her.
Or what her real position is, and that's the vote gatherer. She was picked to get votes. That's exactly what it was. So
you think she'll get them?
She's getting the votes that probably Biden wants right now. So.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say
she's already
where.
won California.
Well,
California's already lost.
Yeah,
California's on fire.
Right. So
The best thing that happened in California is an earthquake, and just chisel it on off.
Stop the forest fires, which they are having a very,
it off.
A
lot of people
it's
are
every
being
year.
damaged. California has been lost.
So you know what Trump said to Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, about the forest fires? Okay, he said, y'all have never properly managed the woods there anyway. You're supposed to do the controlled burns to prevent these big, massive wildfires that break out. But the state has failed to do their job.
Why they fail to do it?
They fail to do everything.
They probably fail to do it in the voice of, what do they call it? Environmental protection. You protect this, you protect that, protect that. In the meantime, you're failing to take care of what needs to be taken care of. Now the whole damn state's on fire.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Look, now, do you remember the presidential debate? You remember
Do
when
I
that happened?
remember it?
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember?
Yes,
Do you remember when Joe Biden said that if he was president, he would stop hurricanes and tornadoes because of climate change?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of confused here. I didn't know that somebody could actually stop those.
Somebody says you could stop one with a nuclear bomb.
No, that's been debunked.
That's hilarious.
How's it debunked? Did anybody try it?
They said that by dropping a nuclear bomb into the eye of a hurricane would do nothing.
You knew they tried it.
Wouldn't be shocked.
I'd like to see the results myself. Hope they get that one filmed.
I don't want to be
Sounds like
around
God's
it.
own way.
No, yeah, that's a little out there.
I think we're at a catalyst point
Okay.
in this nation, and this is really it. I mean, we thought it was it before. We thought it was it before with what's her name, Hillary Clinton and Trump. All right, we thought that was it. It's not it. This is it. This is it, son. Really, this is it.
This is the tilting point.
When you couldn't have thought it would have been worse 4 years ago.
This is where the bow will break.
This is where it's at.
This is
And
where-
I'll be honest with you, no chance. The game is over. There's no chance that Joe Biden and Harris is going to get the votes. There's no chance. The game is over.
You're confident.
There's no chance. It's too silly.
I hope you're right.
It's too silly. It's too no, there's no chance. The game is over.
Two-stage. You know, when we were in here last week, because we recorded the show a couple of days early, we basically walked out to learn that Trump had been exposed to COVID, that he had tested positive, okay? So we didn't even have it with us last week. Here we are, we're 7 days later, and not only has Trump tested positive, he's been in Walter Reed, he's been treated, and he's been sent back home. Now, we know President Trump's getting the best treatment of all, but what did he do with Regeneron? Right to try. He used an experimental drug that had not cleared all 3 stages of clinical trials, which you and I know a very, very lot about, because we spend a lot of time in that area of watching these companies grow through this. Okay, but they have shown the safety factor is in place, and they have shown enough positive results that Trump said, "Hell yeah, I want to try it. I want to do everything in my power to protect me." He said yes. They said yes. You know, the White House doctor said yes. And Trump's sitting in the White House doing business. Now they're wanting to do a virtual debate. They don't want Trump anywhere around it. They want to spread it out. They are trying to give it to Biden. And Trump said this morning he's not going to participate in a virtual debate. He's going to go have a rally.
Yeah, that's right. Why wouldn't you try something different? Why wouldn't you?
You mean on a virtual debate?
No. Why wouldn't you try to do something different?
You mean medicine? Yes.
Everything else is not working. Why wouldn't you try something different?
You guys are doctors, right? I just got to ask a question here. Why is it that if somebody, let's say, has a certain type of cancer and there is a drug that could possibly save their life? Now, they're dying now, okay? They've already been told that they're going to die and that there's nothing else can be done unless some certain drug comes out. Why does the FDA not allow somebody to take a drug that could possibly save their life if they're dying either way? Why is that? Because if it saves them, then we know it worked.
You want to go on that, Dr. Scott?
Why wouldn't they let you? Why wouldn't they let you? Number one, why wouldn't you want to try it? Number one.
Right, you're dying.
Right. So why wouldn't they let you?
Why would? But they don't. They say, we're sorry, we can't do that.
Yeah, why wouldn't they let you? Money. There's a system in play and it runs deep. It's not like, why wouldn't they let you do that? That's almost like, why would you go through that one hole in your tennis shoe or not go through that one hole when lacing up your tennis shoes? No, it's just one little aspect of a whole system. It's all got to be wound real tight, real bounded. Every hole has to be filled and it's all intertwined. It's actually there's a concerted effort to control people on many levels. And we're not even just talking about medicine.
And with what you're talking about there, it's going to be pharmaceuticals. So I'm going to kick in real quick.
Pharmaceuticals are running the show.
Absolutely.
They got the money, son.
This is a big point of it.
They
you and I talk about this all the time. So what happens, the FDA is going to say, we're here to protect the consumer. And they are. But never forget, the FDA is reactive and not proactive. They don't go out there and lay pavement to drive a car on. Okay, they come back and say you can't drive a car in that lane. So they are going to say it's about safety. Now, who has forced the FDA to be so tight and be so strict? Pharmaceutical companies. They're the ones who have come in. They're the ones who have put these restrictions in place. Do that extra. I remember when we first started working in healthcare, and we go around and do these end services, basically lunches in doctor's offices. You have to feed the whole staff to get that, no exaggeration, 1 to 2 minutes to speak to that doctor to give your pitch. And we had to compete against the pharmaceutical companies coming in and providing so much food that not only did everybody stuff theirself, they had enough to take home and feed their family that night.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, let's not ignore the fact. Let's not ignore the fact that the pharmaceutical industry is probably the biggest industry and most powerful industry on the planet.
I tell you what, it's a big fight between them and insurance.
Well, they're in it together.
They are.
A network together.
They are.
And what's happening is they're using medicine and politics as instruments of control. And I don't want to sound kooky on that, fruity on that, but it's really what's happening. And I know what's happening on a corporate level in healthcare. It's not the doctors. These poor doctors are working their ass off to try to help people.
Oh, of course.
For pennies compared to what it used to be.
Less and less every year.
Less and less. You're having to run from job to job to job. If they don't reach the quota, they're kicked out. They got to get another job. They're working 2 and 3 jobs just to try to make it as a doctor. And they can't go out and open up their own businesses because in the medical schools, they don't teach them how to operate businesses. They teach them how to go get a job at their corporate healthcare facility, and now they're working for the corporate companies who are actually running the medical schools.
Yep. They teach them how to live in a box, how to work in that box. This is all you need to learn to do. You learn to do this, we're going to take care of everything else for you. Gets back to the power and control.
That's right.
Okay.
These doctors don't mean to put you in there and say, scare you into a surgery that's really could potentially unnecessary that you definitely have other options for. They don't mean to scare you into that, even though they are. They're using jargon and lingo and words that most people don't even understand. They're going to bring in their MRI reports to me. I say, what they say? Well, they want to do surgery. Would they explain this report to you? No, they just said I need surgery. All right, well, let's look at it. And I have to go through and describe this report. I have to do other people's jobs because they are scaring them into the procedures to meet quotas, and they're not explaining anything to these patients, not because they don't want to. They can't. There are allotted times for a doctor or a provider to spend with a certain patient, and you spend that amount of time with them, and you're out, or you don't reach your quota. You don't reach your quota, you're fired, you don't get a paycheck, your kids don't eat this month. That's how it's going.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate, and people are suffering for it. The great part is everybody's waking up. That's why you can't even get a spot at Advanced Medical. That's why I'm glad you didn't have to wait too long, because it's crazy busy over there, because they're waking up. People want something different. And they realize to get something different, they have to do something different. And thank God we have an avenue for that now.
Amen. Amen. Ryan, what did you get done today? So was it a no knock? He just showed up and said, hey, hadn't been in a while.
I gave a little notice, but
Okay.
yeah, went in there and did some passive therapy, sat in that massage chair, did some electrical stem therapy, and then we did some stretching and followed that with chiropractic work. So
yes,
it was perfect.
Feels good.
Nice little in and out. Time's important to us firemen. So with our days off, we like to in out and while we're in there, get the quality treatment at the same time. So it was a great experience. It always is.
Amen.
What's important for these organizations, whether it be the city municipal groups, companies, organizations, it's important for you to take care of your people. Even our staff, I got the best staff in the world at Advanced Medical, but one of the worst things that we do is we don't take care of ourselves until sometimes it's too late.
That's how it always is.
That's how it always
a mechanic's
is.
car needs fixing. A painter's house needs painting. A carpenter's house needs a new window put in. And for people in healthcare, they usually seem to take care of themselves last.
That's right. But it's important to make that available to people. And it's important for us to get that message out. And it's important for us to take the responsibility of doing it. Otherwise, we wait till it's too late, like Ryan did. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Shows up in town and says, hey, I hurt myself. I need help.
Yeah.
All right, good. But the most important thing Ryan can do when he gets home is take care of himself.
Yes.
Just like everybody else. It starts with the individual. Everything on a political realm, on a health realm, a medical realm, a financial realm, it starts with the individual. That's the only way to make change. It starts with the individual. And I truly believe that the tide is turning. We're heading in a very positive direction, even though there may be more suffering coming.
There's, you can't make an egg you can't make an omelet without breaking a couple of eggs. Okay. Somebody unfortunately has to pay the price to break the rock, to lay the pavement for somebody else to ride on.
Well, we're about a half a century now or more of the medical system consciously or subconsciously really exploiting the patients.
Yeah.
Now even more so exploiting their doctors.
Even
and their
on
nurses.
TV. Even on TV, you see the commercials nonstop. Do you have Medicare? Then you may qualify for. Call this number. We'll have a licensed physician prescribe you. And the next thing you know, somebody gets a knock at the door and UPS or FedEx has dropped off a big box of something they may or may not even use.
That's right. That's right.
It's nonstop.
They're exploiting the system. It's all profit driven.
Yes.
It's not patient focused.
No.
And that's where the problem is. And it's gotten out of hand. It's gotten so out of hand that most people don't know the difference.
No, that swamp, as we were talking about earlier, this swamp that you're talking about right now is a bunch of big alligators. Okay, these are not small alligators. All the small alligators have been gobbled up. They are gone. There is nothing but the big beast laying at the bottom of those swamps, waiting for these patients to get to the edge. And that's your hospitals.
Give it to them. You got to give it to them. These alligators eating everything. Let's just face it. They're smart people. They put an entire system in that's been operating for decades.
They rule their pond.
From my understanding. And we're in their pond. We're the small fish in their pond.
We are the small fish. And they are they are the monsters. And they're just, you and I have talked about, make them give it to you. That's what they've done. They've created a system. They've created something that forces the patient to not want to do, the people who don't do the research, they're lost cause from the start. They're going to walk through that front door, and what they do going forward is going to be dictated to them the rest of their life, whether it's medication, surgery, whatever it may be. Well, the doctor said. Well, if the doctor said it, they act like it's written in the Bible.
Yeah, it's time to reclaim our right to know what the options are, to really know what's going on with our health.
Second opinion.
And be able to choose something beyond drugs and surgery. And like I said, the tide's changing. It's happening.
When you talk about that, let's talk about that second opinion, because you go in, you're told you need surgery, okay? Mm-hmm. If you turn around and go back to the exact same type of physician, guess what he's going to tell you? The exact same thing. That's right. Okay? That's what they do. That's right. That's who they are. They can't help it. You need to
And that's okay if you want surgery.
If you're expecting surgery, you need to get your second opinion from a different principal practice, okay? What is done at Advanced Medical Solution is functional and integrated. We already know you're not going to walk out of there with a prescription, and we already know you're not going to walk out of there being referred to surgery.
You're going to walk out of there knowing that you got a real problem. All right?
Yes.
There are many people that have real problems that are even neglected in the medical system, because the medical system, the typical way they function is they can't really take care of it until it's so bad that they can actually see it on a test. And then you have people who are looking for an answer to their problem before it gets that bad, and they'll go in that system and they're told they're crazy, that their pain is coming from their mind and their brain, and they're really not in pain, and they're suffering and suffering. We'll come in and do an exam, a deep, thorough exam, not just looking at the test, but actually talking to the patient and examining them, touching it, feeling it, understanding what's going on. And then we realize for a fact right away, these people are not crazy. They truly are in pain.
Absolutely.
It's just not at a point to where those test results are showing the modern medical system that there's an issue, and they're just going to blow them off like they have a mental problem until it gets so bad they're suffering, and now it's time for them to get in the system of drugs and surgery.
Isn't it funny? The first thing they do is inject them with cortisone. You and I both know what cortisone does. It deteriorates.
It deteriorates.
It does not regenerate.
Or they medicate them. Okay. They'll even medicate some of these people in pain with mental disorders. They'll medicate them with mental antidepressant drugs and medications that just put them in a loop, a downward spiral. And unfortunately, everybody's working all day. We're working 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Nobody has time to sit around and read and really study and learn the knowledge that I've acquired
of what it
takes to actually protect yourself.
Can't take that break. You got
to keep going. You don't have time for that, and you don't feel like doing it when you get home. You get home, you got to make dinner. Some of us have kids. We got to make dinner for, get them to bed, get them ready for school. Mm-hmm. You don't have time for that. However, you got to find a resource. You have to find a resource to get this information from, or you're going to suffer.
It's scary too, because if you get medications from several different doctors, that could affect your health based on those side effects. And people don't know that. Those are just things people my doctor said this is okay. My doctor said this is okay. And then my dad's an example. The pharmacist actually called up and said, you shouldn't take these two medications together. Mm. And in a situation I had with my insurance, I needed a second opinion, and they gave me a different doctor in the same office. So it's just
classic.
Yeah. Yep.
Did he tell you the exact same thing?
Same thing.
Yes.
3 minutes. I was like, this is, good thing I don't have to rate these people. It's a pretty sad experience.
A self-referral.
Well, it takes two things. It takes two things. Okay, it takes knowledge and an understanding, a little effort on our own selves to be proactive and actually figure out what's going on for ourselves to avoid problems. That's what it takes. Number one, or better or worse, you have to go through what I went through. You have to actually experience the misery, the suffering, the realization that some of these doctors, not all of them, but some of them, they just don't know any better and they're not going to fix your problem. And you have to suffer so bad to get to the bottom of the pool, to suffer and almost be at the point of misery and dying to say, I got to break free from this. There's only two ways of going about it. Choosing to follow the right way and become somewhat enlightened and understanding of other options and what you want for your life, or you got to hit the bottom. You got to hit the bottom and suffer so bad that you realize I must do something now. And unfortunately, that's a lot of the people that we take care of.
I was going to say that's who we see.
That's who
the
we
people
see every day.
in between, whatever level of pain they are, and before they get to surgery. I can't tell you, the people listening, how important it is to avoid surgery, to take this route, that do this option, this second opinion before going to surgery. It's a mistake not to.
Yeah, we have to understand that also these professionals and these doctors who have to operate within this certain box, they can practice within this certain box. We have to realize that those aren't the only options, and that we have to realize and find it fascinating that now there are other options and that you can do something different. And you can't feel bad about it. You can't feel bad about wanting another opinion. You can't feel bad about, unfortunately, no offense.
Yeah. Nothing
But if you bring me a bottle of wine, which you haven't done from your own vineyard after 3 years of knowing you, if you were to bring me a bottle of wine and Ryan brings me a bottle of wine, and you say, you got to choose one. You can't have them both. Choose one right now and see what happens later. If I turn down your bottle of wine that I've been waiting on for 3 years from your own vineyard that you won't bring me, I'm your best friend. You won't even bring me, and I've heard you promise other people bottles of wine behind my damn back. Okay? If I choose Ryan's bottle of wine, I shouldn't feel bad that I said no to you.
No.
Especially if I get Ryan's bottle of wine and later on in the future it doesn't kill me and I can try yours out. There should be options, and we shouldn't feel bad about saying no to somebody. Shouldn't feel bad about it.
No.
It's your choice.
Yes.
And that's where the supreme power lies. It lies with you.
It is.
It lies with me. It lies with everybody. That's where the power's at.
It's knowing that
in
education.
In the midst of the whole pharmaceutical, medical, industrial, governmental complex, the true power lies with the individual. And that's what I love about it. Thank God.
The difference between the swamp and the deep state.
Well, we'll see what happens.
We shall.
We'll see what happens. We got to wrap it up. Hey, guys, I appreciate you being here. Ryan, I'm glad you're in town. Enjoy your stay.
Thank you.
Got some fine weather. Enjoy your stay, and we'll catch up.
Amen.
Fulton, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Dr. Scott.
Hey, I
as
appreciate
always.
everybody for listening. And remember, we'll see you next week.